Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome back. We're going to pick up where we left off. We had KP talking about, when he was talking to the doctor and prescribes some Tylenol in relation to his lung cancer diagnosis. Well, go ahead.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I went to get a CT scan of my lungs because I got to go out to see the doctor, my cancer doctor sometime this week. But as they were looking at my lungs for the mass, it showed respiratory infection. So I went to the doctor last week, and this doctor put me on Tylenols. Told me, well, if you still feel the same in 2 weeks, come back. I went back this morning. I saw another doctor, Dr. Andy, my regular doctor. And before I went, I talked to Miss Brandon. I told Miss Brandon, I said, hey, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm getting upset, smart, or something, but I'm not. It's not towards you, Miss Brandon. It's towards the doctor. I have a respiratory infection. It could be pneumonia. Because pneumonia is going around. It's pneumonia season. And that's what it feels like. I said, why would he put me on some freaking Tylenols? So she said, don't worry about it. She let me see Dr. Andy and talk to the Dr. Andy about it. She said, I'm going to put you on some antibiotics. I said, why didn't do that last week when I came in here? See, stuff like that is what ticks people off around here. They poor judgment. Their medical staff is bull crap. I'm still waiting to go out to see my cancer doctor so I can go out here and cuss his ass out. I've been sitting around for 5-6 months now. No telling how much it enrolled in me now. I don't know. I have no idea.
You gonna cuss him out?
So yeah, exactly.
I don't know why.
That's no way.
I don't know why you don't want to see him.
I can express myself.
Yeah.
It's my feelings. I can express it to anybody at any time I feel like it. So when I go out there to see him next week or the week after, I'm gonna say, hey, why is it taking you so long to do something about this? They had me on my deathbed, just like they had the guy I was in 15B, the medical staff part. They did the same thing. They called from downtown, told Mr. Butler, hey, do a medical further on him. This man's about ready to die. They already had me for death. Yeah.
Do you believe they think that you don't deserve any more of a treatment than what you're getting?
I can't.
Based on what we're in here for, and murder, this, that, and other, and then we get an ailment, and we have to go and get these treatments from these people or get these diagnoses. And like the one guy, they knew he had hepatitis C, whatever, but they look at our file to see why we're in here. And this is just what I've observed, because I'm with a guy who is dealing with an unknown thing. They done had 100 different tests on him, and he's getting worse and worse and worse and losing weight. And he knows something's going on with his body. Mm-hmm. He knows his body. But because of his crime, they're not giving him, and I believe it's just because of his crime and what he's here for. I believe they are intentionally allowing this man to die, because you're in here. I don't have to give you more than what a Tylenol is or ibuprofen, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, the courts have already ruled in those situations. What the court said was that even though they're supposed to provide us adequate care, right, they didn't say they're supposed to provide us good care.
Yeah.
So who's defining what adequate means? You feel what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is on that. But let me ask the broader question. Do y'all believe that the devaluing of human life in prison, do you think that contributes to the environment that we're in, how dangerous, chaotic, and violent this environment? Do you think that contributes to that, the direct devaluing of human life in here by the administration, the system, society, and so on and so forth? Do you think that contributes to the acting out in here? In prison?
I think it does a little bit. I think there's definitely, that's part of the menu. I mean, that's part of the recipe. Absolutely.
I believe it's 100% the bloodline, the blood of this whole. If I get you to feel like you ain't worth crap, and then I stick you with another 200 men who also feel that way, where's my hope? What's the point?
So why do you think, if that's true, why do you think they would do that?
I mean, we broke civil laws. We're in prison. I guess we don't deserve to have a life, I guess.
But why do you think?
Well, you got to think about
it's hard to understand. It's hard to really put what they think You know, because we can't get inside another man's heart. We don't understand, but we can see their actions.
Well, well, I don't have health care. Why should they? I have to pay all this money for my health care. They get it for free. Now, it don't matter what we get, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I'm having to pay all this money for my health care, and they broke the law. You know, they ain't nothing. I mean, I've heard that one a lot.
No, but I'm asking. I didn't ask you what you heard.
Right.
I'm asking you, what do you think the reason would be? Not what somebody told you. I want you to have your own thoughts on this. What do you think the reason would be that they would set the stage for that and let all of this stuff happen?
We don't deserve it.
It's easier for me to get you to punish yourself
Yeah.
than for me to punish you. You know, like I can, if as long as I can get your mind to make you feel that you're not worth it or that you don't deserve this, or then you'll lay down. You'll again participate in your own oppression. You know, the whole idea behind this is to get you to participate in your own oppression. I get to save money. I get to save food. I get to, you know, the families that you harmed or made feel horrible out there, they now know that, well, he ain't living the life that he, you know, in prison, he gets that extra punishment. Okay, he may be alive. He didn't get the death penalty or he didn't get the 50 years, but he around all them other people who don't take kindly to this or don't take kindly to that, and I get them to convince that this is the way it's supposed to be. And after a while, and I'm only a couple years in, you know, but I did county time or whatever. I get to see the dynamics of it, and it holds true. It doesn't matter if these guys got 5 years. After 2 years, they they drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You know, they will turn their 5 at 30, where they can get out real soon, into a 5 at 100%, or sometimes even longer than that. You know, I'm seeing this, and it's like, man, you don't care about your freedom. Like, they have convinced you that this is all that is. You don't deserve to be out there no matter what you've done.
You're not worthy.
You're not worthy.
So what, over with y'all two, what do y'all think about that?
I've been in here since I was 18 years old, and I didn't realize it, but I think of myself as property. I don't really have any self-value. And my sister gets on to me about that all the time. I don't make decisions. She'll ask me something as simple as, what kind of Coke do you want? And I panic inside because, you know, we don't really get a whole lot of decisions. And it's like, you know, whatever you want is fine. You know, I'll just tell her, just get whatever you want. As long as it's wet, I'll drink it. And she goes, no, I want you to make a decision. Tell me what you want.
Look, so let's peel that back. So you didn't come in here like that.
No,
you were a kid that hadn't formed yet. So it's safe to say that way of thinking happened because you were here, right?
Yes, probably.
So what is it that you do? How does it make you feel when you stress out about that? When they come around and they say something, are you always on pins and needles, or do you ever relax?
Joe, I have nightmares that my cell isn't ready for inspection. You know, and I mean, it's constant, you know.
You're constantly trying to anticipate what it is that they want you to do, whether they tell you or not.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to get to with this dehumanizing behavior, where we become co-conspirators in our own demise. It's a sophisticated thing. I don't know if they intentionally did it or whatever the case may be, but that's what takes root. You see what I'm saying? Whether we're talking about a medical issue or a property issue or getting a write-up or whatever the case may be, we find ourselves trying to anticipate what it is that they want us to do so we can please them.
I think
You feel me?
they try to get us to fear a pushback.
Yeah, because the numbers don't make sense. And don't get it twisted. I'm not advocating for any of that. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm about personal responsibility and all of these types of things. And you have to take control over your own life. You understand what I'm saying? In whatever situation you find yourself in a positive way that don't cause harm to somebody else. But I don't think people pay enough attention to the psychological damage that happens to you in very subtle ways when you come into here. And like I said, it gets acted out in different ways, whether it be medical or whatever sets it off, whatever triggering event that sets it off. The result is the same. You start to calculate what's her name? Patty Hearst. You remember Patty Hearst when she got kidnapped and all of a sudden Stockholm syndrome. Mm-hmm. It's almost like that. I'm not saying it's exactly like that, but it's almost like that. You become you want your oppressor, you want the person that's in charge of us, the person that has a position of authority over you seek out their favor, their validation, their approval, and most of the time, it's no way you can satisfy that.
We have
no
sensors as human beings. We have sensors in our brain that react to all different types of situations. These people try to dehumanize us only if we allow them to. They try. If you allow them to, then they will do that. But when it comes to them doing that, it's because the system, we are so far from being the lowest of the lowest of the lowest on the telepole of Earth, being incarcerated. That's how you look at us. To us, our life is no value to them at all. So that's why they get in the position so they can try to dehumanize us. But mentally, we react to this because the sensors in our brain allows us to act to that.
Well, the sensors in your brain, your synaptic nerves is what you're talking about. The sensors in your brain become wired based off of the activity that you involve yourself in. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes routine and it becomes like a natural response. You understand what I'm saying? Uh-huh. So it's almost like you participated in it, but on a subconscious level, you don't even realize you're doing it. You've been conditioned. They do this, and then your response is this. And after a while, you think that you thinking, this is what I need to do. Like you said about panicking about inspection, right? Yeah. You said that you're panicking about it because they might come in and yell in, prepare for inspection. You know your cell is already ready, but they trigger you by saying what? Prepare for cell inspection. And that makes you think what? Let me go up here and make sure everything is straight. It may already be straight. You may already know it's straight. You just left the room, right? But you run back up there and then you scan the room to make sure everything is up to par. And now you're trying to anticipate what are they going to be looking for today, right?
Because they could come by one day and say, you know what? This is perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
And then the next day.
And it's perfect. But then one day, why is this like this?
Yeah, and they told you to do that. And they constantly do that. Why? Because they need you to be conditioned to not ever be able to relax. Now, we done got to that point. This is what I want to get to. So what is it that you should do about that? How do you counter that? First thing you got to do is acknowledge what's going on, right? And that's what's so fascinating about it, because I did not plan this conversation when you said that about your medical situation and all this and that. And as you talked, it made me start to think, okay, how did you get to the point to where you're not even acknowledging your own pain? You're talking more about what's going on, right? And that led me to this whole scenario of, okay, we participate in our own demise. We get so caught up in the cell inspection or the medical issues that's going on, we're not even paying attention to our mental health and acknowledging that you feel some kind of way. Now, again, I'm not saying ignore the cell. I'm not saying ignore your health issues. What I'm saying is we get so caught up in that, we don't realize what's happening, right? And if you don't realize what's happening to you, you're doing what? You're doing what? You're participating in your own oppression on a subconscious level. Now, there are exceptions to everything. You understand what I'm saying? But if you don't acknowledge it, then you can't do anything about it. So what is it that you think a person can do after you've acknowledged what's going on?
This is what I've done. I've only been here a couple of years. And when I first got here, the counselors and all these officers, they were used to tell me, oh, you think you know everything. Oh, you think you know how this goes, huh? I guess that does make sense. And I never grabbed hold of what they were trying to tell me. Basically, they were trying to tell me, get in line before I lock your ass up. And I didn't get because I was trying to...
And be more specific when you say get in line.
Stop talking to me and asking me questions about what I'm telling you to do and why I'm telling you to do. stick to the script, get in your place. Yeah, I don't care. You are not a human. You're going to allow me to dehumanize you whether you want to or not. So you're going to take this with grace and smile, or you're going to take it up in Building 7, which is the lockup hole. That'll change your life if you ever go there. So,
and not to cut you off, but that's what KP's talking about.
Yeah.
Your synaptic nerves. They gonna say you're gonna let us condition you to conduct yourself like this one way or the other. So it's best you do it by choice.
You bet. So I'm trying to figure out why they coming at me like this. I'm cool. I'm innocent. I ain't got no problem with these people. You know what I'm saying? I'm respectful. I'm okay with authority. I follow rules. That's not what they were trying to get me to do. They were trying to get me to be like everybody else. And once I realized it after stepping back from the situation, I knew I couldn't be like everybody else because they just basically was taking these people's soul from what I would see and balling them up and spitting them, just treating them. Now I can't be like everybody else. I got to figure out a different way to where I can hide in this so you don't bother me. I don't want you to speak to me. I don't want you to say anything to me. I don't even want you to look my direction. So what I began to do is I began to surround myself with everybody that they had a problem with. They didn't like certain individuals. They didn't like the gang members. They didn't like the people. So I would surround myself and, if they having a car, I'm going over there kicking it, talking to these guys, and it would keep the officer away, or it would keep the sir, whoever it may be, the authority, it would keep them away because them 9 gang members don't like dude. So that guy can't get to me because he's got to go through all of them. He got to deal with them cussing him out. He got to deal with them talking mess to him. He got to deal with a whole lot just to get to me. And I was like, you know what? This is crazy. But all I got to do is be cool with their enemies, the ones that they really don't like. And I get to remain myself. And not only that, I get to show these guys a different way and show them, hey, this is how you keep these people away from you, by taking back your power. So it was almost like I camouflaged myself into this environment that on the street, I'm not.
But don't you think that's sort of a contradiction?
100%.
Right.
And
100%.
But it worked for you.
But it worked because I know what these people are doing. You know what I'm saying? I know what they're doing. But if I realize if I surround myself with the things that they don't like, I get to keep myself.
But was that a choice that? See, I see what you're saying, that you take back your own power. Did you really, or did you cede the power to the people now you're hanging around with?
Right, because because
because I didn't participate in their activities.
Right, but you said you can teach them how to take back their power. Now, if they abandon the lifestyle that they live, then you don't have any more camouflage.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that I was looking to try to get them to abandon, but just to get to realize,
so
you know what I'm saying?
them.
Yeah,
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, there you go. We got to realize what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, of course. Maybe 9 out of 10 is going to stay where they are because they realize that they got the power. I know how to keep this dude away from me.
And you got to be careful with that too, because the higher ups watch that. So when the IA lady comes in there, oh, get him too.
But
he hangs around.
But did you just see? Did y'all just see what he just did? Did you see what he just did? He's anticipating what the administration
is going to do.
And in that, even though that protects him, like you trying to masquerade around the game, and it protects you, right? You're still doing what?
You still ceded your power. You still ceded your freedom.
Right.
You still
ceded your
just
freedom
to a different entity.
That's it.
I don't like authority at all. I don't like to be told what to do, when to do it. And I'm in prison, and that's all they do.
Okay.
Is tell you what to do, when to
Absolutely.
eat, when to shower, when to get up. So the only way that I could keep myself was to keep them people busy dealing with other people. And then I can make it almost like trick myself into thinking that I'm running.
Good word. Good word. Trick yourself.
Trick myself into thinking that, you know what, I can operate like this because at least they not bothering me. They bothering them. And the more they bother them, the more, I guess, freedom, or so to speak, pretend freedom that I have, because I get to Now I can walk on the yard with nobody searching me. He gonna search all 9 of them, but when it comes to me, he ain't gonna touch me. You know what I'm saying? I get to go to chow without nobody touching me. He could search all of them, but he not gonna search me because they creating a problem. I ain't creating a problem. So it worked, you know, and then
it helped you.
It helped me.
But
it's
when you say it worked, that you stretching it. I think it helped you.
I'm conscious of what I'm doing because
exactly.
when they do come to the point of, you know what, we ain't searched him in 6 months, I'm hoping to be gone, or I'm hoping that, you know, something else is transpired to where now I can hide in that, because I don't want to surrender the little bit that I have left of me.
But that's assuming that the option is surrender. Now we're gonna get to the answer to that question, but I want to see if anybody else has any other methods that they use, you know, or you might not realize before today that you use to try not to secede that ground. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, of course, me, I try to use Yahweh's promises that He's got for me. I can be like try to use the worldly ways, but for me that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Like that particular strategy wouldn't work for me, right? I just don't have that in my mind to build. I'm not built that way, right? So I have to find a peaceful place, a quiet place in my own mind to be at, no matter what's going on around me, right? And it took me a long time. I was resisting that all the time. I was trying to find things everywhere, right? And I realized that didn't work. Not for me, right? I didn't fit in, and I wouldn't have fit in. If I tried that, it would have been a horrible disaster for me, right? But, you know, some people are able to get into that kind of that order in their life. Me, it would have done me so much more psychological damage than anything else. So I resisted Yahweh for a long time, and it really came back to His love for me, right, and how He wants me to behave, you know, and you know, there's a line in Scripture that says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind," right? And like you said, we have to renew the way we think of things. If we don't renew the way we think of things, we're still, no matter how much we decorate the outside, their inside's still messed up.
Right, and we're gonna wrap this session up right here. But when we come back, I want to address, because you say that, and I believe you, and I respect that you're saying that, right. But when we started this out, you had a hard time acknowledging or even saying that you were disappointed and hurt, right? And it makes me wonder if you even realized what was going on, because you were talking all about what they are doing and what was going on. But when I said, how did it make you feel? You didn't want to say it, as if you were going to be betraying some kind of moral code. But hold that thought. We're going to come back. You know what I'm saying? Then we're going to wrap this whole thing up, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I said peace, y'all.
I'm getting so tired.